What's happening, y'all? It's Wednesday. Made it halfway there till the weekend. Today we're going to be measuring volume. Volume is how much space an object takes up. So far this week we've talked about mass, which is the amount of matter inside an object. We've also looked at length, the distance between 2 points. And then today you're going to get into some volume. Volume is depending on what you're measuring. You can measure the volume of a liquid, you can measure the volume of a solid, or even a gas for that matter. But the main one we're going to focus on are liquids and some irregularly shaped objects. Okay, and each of these tools are called graduated cylinders. They're cylindrical shaped, and then they're graduated because they have the little markings on them telling you how much liquid is in them. I put some blue food coloring just so you can see it a little easier inside of the graduated cylinder. Another term that we talked about, anytime when you look at a graduated cylinder and if the edges are kind of curved up, that curve in the water is called the meniscus, and it happens because water has a slight charge to it, and sometimes the edges, depending on how skinny your graduated cylinder, this one doesn't really have much of a curve, but a lot of times when you have like a real skinny one, when the liquid's in it, it'll curve up on the sides a little bit. And that curve in the liquid is called the meniscus. And if you ever see that, you need to measure from the bottom of the meniscus. And then you also are going to use your droppers quite a bit. Let's say I measure out some water, and if that's a little bit too high or too low, you can use your dropper and pull just a little bit out or add a little bit to get you to the right level, to get you where you need to be starting out. So that'd be at 150, and then our units for these are milliliters, and it'll tell you that up here. It says ML, stands for milliliters. And then for a liquid, you just pretty much pour it in and read it where it's at. You have to make sure you understand too what each line represents. Like this one, this big one, this is 1,000 milliliters or 1 liter. And each line, so 600 is marked, 800 is marked. So I know that 700 is in between these two. So 700 would be that middle line. So each line on this one would be 50 milliliters. So that'd be 650, there's 700, 750, 800. But over here on this one, what's labeled is 100, and then it goes up to 150 and then to 200. So this doesn't count by ones. There's not 50 lines in between here and here. I think on this one it goes up by fives, and you can check it. So if you start at 100, 105, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So this one, it goes up by 5 milliliters. And then the last one I'm going to show you is this little tiny one. And you can see that like the number 10 is labeled, the number 15 is labeled, but I mean there's only 5 milliliters between here. But if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it takes 10 lines to get up here. So on this one, each line is 0.5 milliliters. So you have to identify what units or how much each line represents. Okay? And then the last thing I want to show you is to find the volume of an irregularly shaped object. You measure out a certain amount, and then you carefully place your object inside. I started at 150 milliliters. Now you can see, now it came up to, let's go, so 155, 160, 165, 170. So it went from 150 to 170. So the volume, or how much space that toy truck took up, was 20, the water went up 20 milliliters. And this method is called water displacement. And you measured out a certain amount of water, you put your object in, however much that water went up would be its displacement. And since it's a solid, it would be 20 cubic centimeters. So keep practicing with it. A lot of measurement. Just keep practicing. You got this. See ya.